Good morning. My team and I are going to present our Renaissance formal analysis and appropriation. For this work, we decided to use the Virgin and Child between two saints from Giovanni Bellini, that it was made in 1490s. We have the scale of the painting. We have the length. It's 104 centimeters, and the width is 77 centimeters. And an interesting fact we found about this painting, it's that it belonged to the collection of Philip V from 1683 to 1746.
So about the painting, Giovanni Bellini was also known as Gambellino, who was a 4th century painter and was considered a painter that totally changed the Venetian art, making it progress to a more sensual and colorful style. Its subconscious coloring and fluid atmospheric landscapes had a great effect on the Venetian school of painting, and the thematic of his work is predominantly religious.
About the painting, we found that devotional pictures with Virgin and Child are generally with private commissions. And the painting we can see in the center, Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus. In the right side, Saint Ursula with an arrow, which is the cause of her martyrdom. And in the left side, Saint Catherine. Um, we can see they are in a Sacra Conversación, which is a pictorial genre within religious painting, and this also means they're in a communion state. And yeah.
Bellini arranged the painting in 3 perfectly divided vertical sections, which can be seen with the rule of thirds, which can tell the viewer that in these axes some important elements can be found. There is a clearly negative space, being the curtain, while the positive space are the Virgin, the Saints, and the Child. This takes us to the triangle composition. Starting above the Virgin's head all the way to the edges at the bottom of the painting. This takes the viewer's attention to the Madonna, then the Child, and finally the Saints, because within the triangle the focal point of the painting can be found. The Saints give it a balance and a symmetry, as both are in front of each other and to the left or right side of the Virgin. The facial expression and the clothes give a sensation of a craft painting, as the Virgin and the Child are seeing something not shown in the painting, and the clothes of each are also not completely shown. The painting is picture plain even if there is an effect of that. It can be divided into the foreground being the saint, the middle ground, the Virgin and the Child, and a background being the plain curtains. These were created with an overlapping effect, as Saint Catherine and Saint Ursula are covering some space from the Virgin's clothes, and all of the contrast of the background also gives an undefined perception of depth. The shadow found on the rose form an illusion of the effect of depth. The tonal contrast between the background and the middle ground and foreground contributes to the same effect.
So the light. The first thing we can notice about this painting is the background, which is darker than the middle ground and the foreground, and this makes emphasis on the main figures of the picture. Bellini makes an innovation while doing this background without color and just making like this color on the main figures. And this effect of light makes us an allusion to divinity, as it's a religious painting. We can see the light is coming from the left side, and these tonal degrading colors make an effect of chiaroscuro. And also we have like warm ambient, making like also an allusion to divinity.
Then we have form. We notice that Bellini uses consistent, rounded, and curvilinear shapes in order to give the faces a three-dimensional form. So he goes from simple shapes to more complex forms. We also have to consider light and color, but also value as important elements to give this three-dimensional effect. Also, these geometrical forms were drawn with different positions and angles to give the head a little movement and inclination. We have, of course, volumetric forms, human forms, as almost two-thirds of the painting are human figures. We have the Virgin Mary, the baby Jesus, Saint Ursula, and Saint Catalina, and some organic traces, for example, the hands and the noses, that they don't follow like in a specific order or right lines to form them. And also, Saint Ursula and the Virgin's face are a clear example of the value in the painting. The shadows in the cheeks, for example, are will make them the faces look like three-dimensional and more realistic. Also, the detailed noses that have the shadows and the value in it, it makes them look three-dimensional and more realistic. Then we have line. The line precision in this painting is not so obvious when you see it without much delay, but you have to pay a lot of attention to the painting, and you'll see that the very precise hand strokes of the lights give even more details to the work. If you see it like without much delay, you'll see that it's like a very good painting and very detailed. But if you pay attention, you'll see like the lines in it. Bellini uses right semi-curved and curved lines for the mantles that make them look clean and iron, or a right uh, line for the arrow that Saint Ursula is holding. Also, the perfection of the circular lines for the auras and halos in each figure. We know that all these lines were handmade, but they look as perfect as if they were made with a ruler or with a compass. So that's amazing with Bellini's work.
And so the color. First, the primary color groups are yellow, blue, and green, as the clothes of the saints and the robes also. But also we have white in Saint Ursula's clothes. And we can see some tones of brown in the hair of both saints and baby Jesus, and the tones of soft yellow and red for skin and lips. The background is dark brown and with a curtain of green olive garden. And this also makes, as we say before, um, emphasis on the main figures of this. And these soft colors gives an idea also of tenderness and pureness. We can find also some warm colors such as yellow and red.
The brushwork used can give a real-life texture. For example, the clothes are clean and iron, the hair that is braid or wavy, and also the pearls, all of them being soft, delicate, and smooth.
Finally, for this painting, we have the materials, process, and technique. We found out that this painting was made with oil on a panel, and Bellini used light, slow drying oil paint, and thanks to that, we can see in the panel deep, rich tints and detailed shadows.
So now I'm going to show you our appropriation. First of all, a little bit of context. We like to conserve the background because, as we say, it was an innovation of Bellini to make a background without a color and just with a curtain. And so we like to represent like this, and also the effect that give us to the main figures of the painting. And in general, this picture represents like our studies and the society, what the society want us to be doing, but also what we want to do in order to succeed. and we conserve the elements, the main elements, such as the hands of Saint Catherine and the arrow, which now is represented as a diploma, and the baby as a book.
So here I am representing Saint Catherine, which has a clock on her hands, and this clock may represent a lot of things as the time that at the time that we are, or maybe the time that we have, the time we have to put to studying or for ourselves. So the clock it represents time, but it depends a lot of what you want it to be.
Then I'm here representing Virgin Mary. We changed the baby with the book because, as I say, um, this was the society want us to be making right now, and so we are going to be studying right now. And it's not only a book of like maths, as it's in the picture, but it represents like the studies in general. Yeah.
And I'm representing Saint Ursula in our appropriation. We will try to represent our figures in a similar way with the clothing, but in my case, we decided to change the arrow with an IB diploma. Relating it to our scholar concept, the diploma represents for us a difficult journey or something that may be like a sacrifice for us. But at the end, we know that all that effort will be prized or recognized in the future, and we just have to be patient and work hard for it. That in a short time may be an IB diploma, but in the future may be some other dreams or goals.
So this is our other application, and we choose to stay with the concept that Bellini proposes of sanctity and represented with our younger selves. For example, when you are a child, you have this sense of innocence and purity as Bellini represented in the original work.
Yeah. In this appropriation, we don't took like the symbols of the first one. We just are representing like innocence and purity, but we don't mean like the arrow. There's no element in this one.
And I would like to say that, for example, in our last appropriation, that it's like our main appropriation, uh, would go beyond the scholar concept. We also wanted to represent our time with the clock, for example. Our time as women, it's our time to achieve our goals and dreams, dedicating right now our lives to study. We also wanted to develop we also want to develop ourselves professionally in the future in order to have a good life and also to make a change in our world. And in the second appropriation, that it's where we are represented as little child, we wanted, as my partner said, to show all the symbolic elements in it, but not like explicit. For example, the maternal love is really important, like in the original, but also in our appropriation, because it's the first love we know. And also, we wanted to represent ourselves when we were little, because it was like an innocent, tender, and kind stage that helped us become who we are right now.
Just to add, in this appropriation, I like having this idea of making this whole thing, uh, such as the Ivy diploma as the martyrdom. It's like maybe it's not um, like that hard at this point, but for us it was like something that was killing us, not literally, but yeah. And so we decided to do this. It was a crazy idea that we have, but yeah, it's beyond than just studies. So yeah, I think that's all. Thank you for watching us and listening us.